up the pace. I'm reading books, learning all the tricks, studying the market, making calculated picks. I'm saving up my dough, watching it grow. No more wasting money on things I don't really know. Financial smarts, that's my new swag. Investing wisely, no more burning cash, I'm building wealth. $1 at a time, going from broke to living the life that's grind.
What is good, everyone? Happy Thursday. We are back at it again with another episode of Future Financial Strategies. It's your boy, Reckless Ray Dinero, and we're going to jump right into it. But before we do that, have you hit that like button? I need people hitting the like button on the way in. Got to let me know you're out here, folks. We've been getting the views. Views are going up, which is dope. Do me a favor. Hit that like. Also, if you've been tapping in and you've caught a few of the videos, you're liking the content, you're over here, maybe subscribe. That'd be cool too. Also, if you're getting value out of this, and this is something that somebody else might find useful, definitely hit the share. Now, I do have a thank you. We got to thank Delta Investment Tracker app, sponsor of the show on the platform. Super useful tool. If you haven't touched base on that, down in the description in the video below, down below, there is a link that lets them know that you found them via old Reckless Ray Dinero. Now we're going to jump into it. So, actually, hold on. I got a few screens up here that I got to close. I got a lot of stuff going on. Hold on here. Jump in here real quick. Okay. So, topic of this video. Gonna go ahead and hotshot this one. It's a simple one. It's how I use in-home banking. For those of you who are not familiar with in-home banking, basically it is taking the interest that you would pay a bank and navigating within your own household. As the bank, you replace the bank with yourself, your funds, your money. A lot easier said than done, in my opinion, depending on what you need to do. There's a lot of different tools that people use to implement in-home banking. A lot of them use cash value life insurance to kind of get this concept going. Me personally, starting out, because the thing that I noticed, and this is just to me personally, and this is the reason I put in here how I use it. And this is why. The in-home banking concept using cash value life insurance sounds awesome. It's great in theory. It's just like a lot of stuff. It's great in theory, and generally speaking, the people who are talking to you about it are already rich or very much more well off than what the rest of us are. Like, I'm not rich. I'm the only person in these YouTube streets who doesn't make over six figures, apparently. And I'm navigating as I go. So as a normal person, this concept rang true to me because of my holdings in crypto, and it's a principle. I like dialing into the principle of things. Like, I'm not so much one of those people who dials into the rhetoric around something. I look at how it actually works, and then I'll focus on that. And I go, okay, I can throw out the bones and just eat the meat. So for in-home banking, normally you have to have a large pool of cash before they have you start implementing these principles. Now, me personally, I implement them with a much smaller pool of cash. But when I learned the concept, you could still leverage Bitcoin. So I did get a taste of the full force of what in-home banking was, and it was enough and long enough in a proper amount of window where I got to experience that in-home banking cycle, and I got to understand how it works, why it works, what about it works. I just don't like the life insurance thing. The ramp up time on it's too long. Like you're waiting like 3 to 5 years. It's 3 to 5 years. And I understand over here in the Wolf Pack, we do long time windows, but the opportunity cost of the funding for 3 to 5 years is my issue with the core of that system. So what did I do? I was like, I'm going to build this out in my bank account because I don't like stagnant money. So my emergency fund I use as an in-home banking fund. It is an additional line of credit for me. How do I utilize that line of credit? Well, the first thing is I charge myself a flat 10% interest. I also do something similar with our Cash App pool of money because Cash App, I can borrow money from them for 2%, which is actually nothing for me. So I utilize that as well, and I pay myself back 2%. So I pay myself back 10% there. All cash pools, and in regards to how I'm utilizing them, I pay myself back 10%. So the stuff that I can leverage for immediate cash, which is the $650 that sits over in Cash App, the emergency fund that I'm building up, like currently we've got it up to over $1,000, and normally I'll bang this out over and over and over again because normally I pay it back within a month. And then it's rinse and repeat, but I pay myself back 10%. It goes into the pool. And the way that this is going to work is I'm going to get that up to my emergency fund amount. And as the pool of money grows and I have access to more money, obviously those interest payments that are coming back into me that go back into the pool will grow as well. How is that going to work? Well, I don't ever want to have over $2,500 on hand. So once the pool of money gets up to $2,500, those interest payments will be going into an account that's going to be tied to that. That's also going to be an income producing account because I want active money. So we'll be doing something that we can grow it, and it can be margined, and it'll be kicking off income and growing and ever growing. And as I use that in-home banking pool, it will build up that account that's going to eventually get to a point to where it just pays back the in-home banking pool. So like I like to make systems. I like to make systems where the money is cycling, but the way that I landed on using my emergency fund, and obviously, what if you have an emergency before the emergency fund? Well, currently the only emergency that I have is clearing debt, which is exactly what we're using the in-home banking fund for. So basically we're converting existing debt into our debt system. So we're paying ourselves the interest, which is less than the credit card debt that it is for the active debt pool. Outside of that, it was a semi-large purchase, semi-boosted investing fund, semi. I don't really enjoy buying a bunch of stuff that I don't need. So the way that I spend money is a little bit different than most people. So most of the time I'll tie that emergency fund just to get it doing something, either into a series of small purchases where we're taking a few $100 here, a few $100 there, get something done that's needed. Car, home maintenance stuff like that. Like it's not an account where I'm like, hey, like this, I'm just going out and like now I've got it and I'm just throwing money away. I try to use it strategically, and if I can't find something to use it for, I'll empty out the account to buy investment, to buy more income, to pay it back. Because that also makes a great deal of sense to me, because I don't like the fact that there's just stagnant money sitting in the account. I understand a lot of you guys like looking in the bank and seeing a bunch of money in there. I really don't. Like now that it's over $1,000, like I've been regularly emptying it out, and because I don't even like looking at $1,000 in the bank. But I figure 2,500 is a good round number for an emergency fund, and the more I empty it out, the faster it fills up. So once I get to that 2,500, then as I'm using that money, it will be applied to building up another account. I'll probably consistently do that because generally speaking, my cut to the quick is $1,500 a month. So that'll give me that pool of covering my expenses for the month. And I can just pay that account back, pay myself the 10%, build the account, build the companion account and my brokerage up. I'll be opening another brokerage account. I'm quickly spiraling brokerage accounts over at Charles Schwab. They're going to think I'm a weirdo here pretty soon, but they're going to get filled up. So eventually we'll be in a private banking situation with Charles Schwab because that's just what's happening. But that in-home banking nugget of money, it's been good for, I like it for practice. I understand people will be like, oh, well, you know, if you did cash value life insurance, you could have $50,000 in 3 years. And I'm like, that's cool and all, but in 3 years, I won't need it. I mean, I'll still need the life insurance, but within 3 years, with the other accounts that I have going around my in-home banking system, I will be in a space to where I can fund a high cash value life insurance policy to do in-home banking the proper way. But I'll have had 3 years of practice, and who knows how much money I'll have made in those 3 years within my own in-home banking system. But I'll be able to start up the cash value life insurance policy and do the in-home banking the appropriate way. And then I'll be well closer to the mountaintop, and that'll be another tool in my tool belt that I learn how to do the hard way. There's a couple of things that should be noted is like you could also utilize a credit card for the nucleus of the money. If you have a credit card where you get cash advances, that's one of our future financial strategies. We do use cash advances. I'm a big fan of leveraging everything, and if I can get it at 0% for 10 months to a year or however long, why not? Like there's literally no reason not to, especially if you're able to pay it back within the window. Barring the medical emergency aside, like barring the medical expenses that I've incurred, we were on a pretty solid trajectory. We were putting $10,000 into the market every 10 months using that strategy. Now we got a little kink in the system now because we have a little debt mess to clean up because of unforeseen medical expenses tied around surgery. Pair that with the high deductible because generally I don't ever have to go to the doctor and I'm not injured. So there's that. Nothing that's not manageable though. It's just, that slowed the system down, but we're still dollar cost averaging. We're still investing. We're still utilizing all of our cash pools. It's just, we're paying back in the in-home banking a little bit slower. We've used the Cash App a couple of times so far with that play because now the portfolios that we've been building are kicking off enough money to where now when we're cycling money around, we can do that. One of the things that we're looking at doing, we have, I think, maybe one more good cash infusion play left to get everything under me and self-directed. So we'll be upping the cash flow again, and then we're going to really dial in and start attacking this debt because before I can get a new car, do any of that stuff, like I don't like just stacking debt like that unless it's absolutely necessary. So we're clearing the debt, and then we're going to start looking at updating a vehicle. Like I drive cars until they're well into the realm of it's time to trade it. Because I enjoy having paid off cars. I really do. I hate car payments. I don't do high car payments. Like I'm not going to have a car payment that's going to be $1,000 a month. I don't know what the average car payment even is right now, but I'm not going to be doing that because I don't do that. So whatever we have, if we're paying $1,000 a month, it's going to be because we're paying it off within a year or two, or we're trying to pay it off faster. The reason that I leverage the car though is because I want all my money going into the market as much as possible and stopping to pay a lump sum of money now to pay off the car after the debt's cleared, to just buy the car outright. I understand a lot of people like doing that, but opportunity cost, again, you're taking a large lump sum of money, going and buying a vehicle, And now that money doesn't go into the market. Like if I'm gonna do that, I would rather just build up my income portfolio even more to have that pay for the car and just be like, cool, I'll pay it off in 12 months so that I can continue to keep feeding my machine and keep putting my dollars to work. One of the benefits that I've found from using this in-home banking system, even building this account up to getting it to $2,500, because I would never just put $2,500 in the bank. That's the first thing. So the first benefit is it's forcing me to actively build this account and utilize this money. The second thing is it allows me to have an account that has this much money cycling through it on a regular basis, because I would never just have $1,000 sitting in the bank. Like my bank accounts now, I'm eking them up. We're going into 2024. One of the standards is going to be all of my bank accounts are going to have a cushion in them of $150. That's what we're looking at for the 2025 calendar year. We're updating the accounts. I throw a little bit more money in there so that there's that cushion there. But I don't like having money sitting in the bank. I really don't. So this is forcing me to be a little bit more normal-ish with my money, because most of my money sits in my brokerage account. Like the bulk of it's in my brokerage account. It's in my crypto wallet. It's in Bitcoin. It's away. It's inaccessible. I can get to it within 48 hours, and I don't normally have emergencies that I can't front the bill for 48 hours to have an asset get liquidated to come in and pay it back. That's what I have credit cards for. My emergency account actually is the credit card. You just have to have the asset to back the debt that you're creating. That's the way that I look at it. But hitting that metric, it's a arbitrarily dumb metric for you if your standard emergency, because after having to foot the bill for this surgery, there's a couple of things where I'm like, yo, having something that's closer would be good, because obviously this injury and surgery happened during the build process of getting my accounts set up. The reason I haven't paid back those debts yet, like we've got a payment plan going, most of it's been paid off, or it's on a credit card, sitting on a credit card right now. The issue being, I would rather manage that debt and chunk it down and pay a little bit of interest on it than liquidate the assets that are now producing income, because now we're close. We hit this month. We're going to be really close, right on the hills of $1,200 this month. Our cut to the quick goal, which is our next big celebration goal for that portfolio, actually just for my financial situation period, is $1,500, because that's my cut to the quick. That's covering my house, covering my utilities, and keeping the internet on, and maybe keeping the internet and my phone, and maybe Netflix, so I have something to watch. That's the cut to the quick now. So once we hit that $1,500, like no matter what, as long as that account's managed and things stay relatively around the same deal, like if I'm ever injured and off for a month, I literally have nothing to worry about, because all my core expenses are covered. That's going to be a big move. The overarching goal is to get $5,000 in income. Now, how are we doing that faster? Again, we got to go back to the benefits of the in-home banking. I'm building up this cash pool, and you could just say, oh, well, you could deploy it and just not pay it back. Well, that's fiscally irresponsible. Like, you're not going to be a bank if you don't pay yourself back. And I pay a lot of interest to all these credit card companies and everybody else that I owe money to. So we're building up that cash reserve so that way we can stop having to go directly to a 20, 30%, 16% interest. Like I would really like to get it relegated down to where the only thing that I'm using any of my credit cards for, really, aside from my daily driver for just expenses that get paid off every month, is everything comes out of in-home banking with that kicker of the little $6.50 from Cash App, just in case. Because that's only 2%. That cost me 2%. I pay myself 10, so I'm still getting a little kick of money that goes over into the pool when I use the Cash App. Those are the goals, but the in-home banking has been a really good learning experience. It's allowed me to, I use a lot of those principles as I'm building out these accounts, like my income account. I do have margin on there. Now, my margin is about 13%, but it's calculated daily. It kind of functions as a HELOC, except for the asset is your portfolio, which is risky, which means you can't pull all of it out. But it's a healthy amount. Like I have access to money over there. It's just the way that I pay myself back. Like then I'm just paying that back like that because that's gonna have interest applied to it every month. It calculates it daily. It runs basically like a credit card. But I would like to have everything consolidated down into stuff that I'm directing that's producing income. Right now my bank account produces a little income because I have to pay myself back that 10%. When I take the Cash App play, I have to pay myself back that 10% less the 2% that Cash App takes. So I'm getting 8% off that. The account's growing, and it's growing steadily because I use it at least once a month. I like it. The way that I'm doing it, obviously, you have to be extremely financially responsible to make a note to pay yourself back and then to do it. Because as the money comes in, there's a bunch of other stuff that it could be earmarked for that could also be of use. Be like, oh, I got this. And like, it's also easy to skip paying yourself back. That's another very large piece of the puzzle there is like, are you paying yourself back? Or one of the things that's currently come up is I keep using the Cash App to get that solid amount out, and I keep reusing it, and I'll pay that back. And then lately, since it's September, now this is a specific to this month thing, because September is the worst month in the market, which means everything's on sale. Bitcoin's on sale. All my stocks are on sale. So I'm paying back the Cash App, pulling the Cash App out to get ahead, front myself money to start making some pretty large purchases in my traditional portfolio. So I'm buying more income. As I'm getting paid monthly, I'm paying back the Cash Apps because you have to. Like, there's a deadline on that before they start tacking on extra money and stuff. And then I'm pretty sure if you go past it too many times, they'll lower the amount that they want to give you. And I've capped it out at $650. I'm not sure exactly how we landed there, but that's where we're at. And it's one of those things where that's cool, but I don't want the amount that they get. Like, I'm just not going to be financially responsible with something with a deadline on it. Like, it's just what it is. But I've been paying that back, and then I've been taking the extra that's left over from the income and reinvesting it in the income portfolio. So I've kind of been extra slowly paying back the in-home banking to cycle that to get more money into the portfolio. I don't know. I don't know how that's going to play out. Because, I mean, even if I paid it back fast, like, it's the same difference. You're robbing Peter to pay Paul. But at the end of the day, I know that I'm going in the right direction because I'm tracking the income on my income portfolio. And I track those metrics. Obviously, you can look at the portfolio update that we do every month. I dive deep into the income portfolio, how I'm building it, what moves I've made over the month, what I'm doing with it. You can get all that information. We post it here. It's the first Monday of every month, unless the first of the month is on a Monday, and then it'll be the following Monday. But actually, sometimes I actually get it in before the first of the month. It just depends on where we're sitting. So I try to do it the first Monday of the month, period. If not that Monday, the following Monday. But when we're working on this portfolio, like when it's going in there and I'm looking at how long it's going to take to hit my goal of $5,000. As I'm doing the updates in the software that I'm using to track it, we look at Snowball Analytics. When we're every month, you get to see a peek of it. I pull it up, get to see behind the veil. Like I give all the receipts, all of the info. You get to see all of it. But as I'm looking, it's like that timeline's coming down. Like it's just like, yeah, like if you just don't put any more money in here, then it's this amount of time before you're hitting your target. If you keep putting money in here and reinvest it, like honestly, one of the things that I noted on the last month when I was doing the update, and then I'm plugging in my buys throughout the month into Snowball Analytics, and it's talking about like if I keep investing the way that I'm investing now, plus reinvest the dividends, I could be at that goal within a year or two, which is highly tempting. It's like, dude, just like dump everything and just pay off the debt and then just do that. But like also once the debt's cleared, I will have access to all the money that I could want, and I could just front load all of it now, which also could be a potential option as we're working through it. It's just I got to get through the other side of this additional medical debt and then paying down the daily driver. Like that's kind of where I'm at. And we're gonna do, I actually think I'm gonna do a additional video where we go over that. I think we're gonna just dive into the debt, because like I've got enough debt to talk about. It's a good amount. So I think that could be fun also, so everybody could be like, see, leveraging, it just don't work. And it'll be like, well, it does though. Like, and I'm going to explain it. I'm going to explain it the way we're going to have the conversation. It's going to be good. But I think that's going to be it for this episode. That was my breakdown of how I specifically use the in-home banking system within my personal financial situation. And, you know, hopefully it gives some people some ideas. It's not just about setting aside 3 years. You can actually start doing it now. If you set an account aside, if you have a savings account, you can do it with that. It's just a matter of taking the loan, holding yourself accountable, and paying it back. And that's the biggest part. Like I can't stress that enough. Like I have a Google Keep that keeps track of the outstanding debt that I owe myself. And I track the payments, and I'm scaling it down. Like as I pay, I'm like, did you pay the interest? And me personally, one of the other things I do is I always, the first payment that I make, I pay myself back that plus the 10% interest. Now, obviously, like that's just the way that I go at it, or I just pay the interest first. Like I'm like, I want to pay myself first so I can get that on the books that like I got paid the money that I was owed on top of this. Now I can chip away at the debt part of it. If you're not capable of doing that, then the system's just not going to be for you. There's other tools though. Like there's plenty of other tools. Like we have a lot of other future financial strategies. This is just one that I like to use because instead of having to go, hey, I'm floating and Citibank's making money, or I'm floating and Discover's making money, or I'm floating and Chase is making money, I can float myself with my money, and then I can capture all that money. And it just goes back into the pot. And as that pot grows, I mean, you can grow that into bigger things. Now, there's obviously that form of it, there's no tax advantages. Also, I don't have the life insurance piece of it as well. Like you have the life insurance coverage, but I do really like the getting the money back into my account. Like when it's time to move into that next level of advanced finance, I'm gonna be well trained in how that works. I'm gonna have the practice. It's not like you just get to start off running the race. Now, the people who are selling you the policies, they're definitely going to tell you, they're like, oh yeah, you just start this now, and like 3 years later, like then you have money to use. And it's like, yes, you could do that. And I mean, honestly, I can't hate on it because you should have life insurance. Like we shouldn't be doing fish fries to get you into the ground. So I can't even argue that. My issue is it's like if you're implementing these things, then I like to get a taste for it so that I can know that it works. And like fortunately for me, I got to get a taste for that the last Bitcoin bull run. And then I figured out a way to implement it within my personal situation, even though I'm not yet at the spot to where I'm like, hey, I want to do the cash value life insurance right now. Like I do have enough money to get myself into the ground, to be honest. So that wasn't a pervasive, really up in your face concern, because I was just like, well, the money that I could be putting in that I can put in Bitcoin, and it's potato at this point because Bitcoin's going up in value so much. So for me, it's not a pressing issue, but it's something that I like, and I do like the tax advantaged growth of that and the different stuff that you can work on after you get so far into the process. I just want to be like, for me, I would just like to have larger lump sums of cash. Like if I'm going to do that, I'd like to have my income portfolio kicking off $5,000 a month. And then for a year, be like, yo, like I can set aside a couple of months and it's like, cool, that year's premiums covered, to where it's not coming out of my, like something that I'm actively living on. Like then I can go, well, now I only have to work for like 1 year, 2 more years, do some consulting, something to bring in walking around money, because all my core stuff is paid for. But we're going to leave it at that. If you haven't liked the video yet, like the video. Also, share the video. Also, if you're new, welcome to the Wolfpack. Subscribe. Hang out with us. We do this Future Financial Strategies. We do this every week on Thursday. It drops about 7 a.m. in the morning for your work commute. You can watch it later in the day. Evergreen information. Go back through and check out some of the other videos. We got a lot of different topics, a lot of different strategies. This is one of the many tools that we have in the tool belt to keep our finances at the bleeding edge as we work our way towards hitting that $1 million net worth journey. And then the next journey after that's going to be obviously $5 million. And then the next journey after that's going to be $10 million. And then we're going to, hopefully, if you're on this journey with me, you're going to be hitting some of those metrics as well. Like we are trying, like what I would like is I would like for my content during the windows that I'm doing it to help print some millionaires, even a few 100,000aires. Like y'all should be 100,000aires at least off the game that I've been dropping. Like, what are we doing? What are we even doing? I'm giving the juice. I'm telling you what I'm doing as we're working through it. So there's plenty of room, because like most of you make more money than me. So y'all got to catch up, Mustard. Come on, let's go. Till next week, people. It's your boy Reckless Ray Dinero, and I'm out. Peace.
Money on my mind. Yeah. Focus, got no time for games. Nah. I don't play, man, I'm all about that financial literacy. Investing in my future, building generational wealth. Dollar bills, they be calling my name, but I ain't chasing fame, I'm chasing change. Learn the game, now I'm playing it smart. Putting my money to work, it's an art. I'm stacking paper, building my own empire. No more living check to check, I'm getting higher. Investing in stocks, real estate, and more. Gotta secure the bag, that's what I came for.